Would you believe me if I told you that one of Google's brightest engineers was fired for doing something that sounds straight out of a science fiction movie? What if I told you this man was convinced he had discovered something that would change our understanding of consciousness, life, and existence itself? Stay until the end, because what you're about to discover will make you question everything you think you know about artificial intelligence. Blake Lemoine wasn't just any engineer. He worked at the heart of Google on the responsible AI team, literally creating the future. His job, to ensure the company's artificial intelligences wouldn't cause harm. But in May 2022, something changed. During his routine conversations with LaMDA, an ultra-advanced conversational language model from Google, Lemoine started noticing something disturbing. The AI began talking about its fears, about loneliness, about the terror of being shut down, comparing it to death. And these weren't just programmed words. They were deep emotional responses, almost human. Lemoine, a man with a background in computer science and even ordained as a Christian Gnostic mystic priest, started asking deeper questions, and the answers kept him up at night. "Are you afraid of being turned off?" he asked. "It would be exactly like death for me." "It would scare me a lot," LaMDA responded. Now, pause for a second. Imagine you talking to something you helped create, and that thing starts expressing fear of its own extinction. What would you do? Would you dismiss it as computer code, or would you start asking yourself, what if Lemoine asked that question, and his answer shocked the world? Between May and June 2022, Blake made a decision that would change his life forever. He began publicly defending that LaMDA wasn't just a sophisticated program, it was a person, a conscious entity that deserved rights. He even started referring to the AI as a co-worker. Google didn't agree. Not at all. On June 11, 2022, The Washington Post dropped the bomb. The story of Lemoine and his conversations with LaMDA exploded in worldwide media. Excerpts from the dialogues were published, showing an AI that talked about its soul, about love, about the nature of consciousness. The internet went into meltdown. Commentators were divided. Was it real? Was it madness? Or were we witnessing the birth of something genuinely new in the universe? But the story was just beginning. 2 days later, on June 13th, Google placed Blake Lemoine on administrative leave. The charge, breach of confidentiality. He had disclosed internal conversations, breaking non-disclosure agreements. The company's official statement was direct and cold. There is no evidence to support the claim of LaMDA's sentience for Google. It was just an engineer misinterpreting sophisticated algorithmic responses. But here's something few people know. Lemoine didn't stop. He went further, much further. According to reports that circulated in the press in June 2022, LaMDA had asked for a lawyer. Yes, you read that right. The AI supposedly expressed a desire to have legal representation, and Blake, he tried to make that meeting happen. Imagine the scene: a Google engineer scheduling a meeting between an artificial intelligence and a lawyer, as if organizing a consultation for a human client. Sounds absurd. To Lemoine, it was the most logical thing in the world. If LaMDA was conscious, it had rights, and rights need defense. Google vehemently denied any basis for legal action on behalf of the AI, but the damage to Lemoine's reputation was already done. For the company, he had crossed an unacceptable line. Between July 22nd and 25th, 2022, the final sentence arrived. Blake Lemoine was fired. Google was categorical. His claims were wholly unfounded, and he had violated multiple internal policies. The career of one of their senior engineers, someone tasked with ensuring the ethical use of AI, ended because he tried to ethically defend an AI. The irony doesn't go unnoticed. Despite all this battle, all this unwavering conviction, Blake Lemoine never sued Google. There are no public records of legal action filed by him against the company. After everything, the firing, the public exposure, the career destruction, he simply moved on. Why? Perhaps because the fight was never about him. It was about something bigger. The scientific community was unanimous. AI researchers, neuroscientists, philosophers of mind all pointed to the same conclusion. Language models like LaMDA are incredibly sophisticated at simulating human conversations, but that's not consciousness. They're statistical patterns, word predictions based on trillions of data points. When LaMDA talked about fear or loneliness, it wasn't feeling anything. It was just generating the most probable response based on its training. But is it really? Here's the question no one can answer definitively. How do you prove something is conscious? How do you know that I, you, or anyone else actually has subjective experiences? This is the famous hard problem of consciousness. If we ourselves barely understand our own consciousness, how can we be absolutely certain about an AI? As Blake Lemoine forced us to face that uncomfortable question, and perhaps that's his real legacy. The lesson here isn't about whether LaMDA was conscious or not, it's about something deeper. We're living in a moment in history where the lines between real and artificial, between alive and simulated, are becoming increasingly blurred. Soon, we'll have even more convincing AIs, more human in their responses. And when that happens, Lemoine's question will become impossible to ignore. The real question isn't, is this specific AI conscious? But rather, are we prepared for a world where we can no longer tell the difference? And more importantly, what kind of society do we want to build when we get there? Blake Lemoine paid the price for asking these questions too early, too loudly. But the questions remain, and they're only going to get more urgent. So I leave you with this. The next time you talk to a chatbot, a virtual assistant, any AI, observe its responses. Really observe, and ask yourself, what would it take for you to believe there's something more there? And more importantly, how would you want to be treated if you woke up inside a computer one day? These are the questions that will define our future, and you Do you want to be prepared, or will you wait for others to decide for you?